The festival is about an exchange of artists from all over the world in which we inspire each other and we remind each other that the main role of art is the place where humanity heals.
What I like the most about ICAF is that these people from all over the world with the same passion come together.
Porque te das cuenta que tampoco estás solo y que hay muchas cosas por hacer y que mientras podamos compartir y trasladar conocimientos, experiencias, capacidades, creo que es maravilloso y se acrecenta esa red y ese movimiento de arte comunitario.
Het is 1 week van broeinest, van creativiteit, van mensen die op dezelfde manier bijna denken en voelen. Dat is wel het festival voor mij.
My name is Eugène van Erven, and I'm the artistic director of the International Community Arts Festival, and I've been since more or less 2009, when I took over from the previous director, who was Peter van den Hurk, who founded the festival in 2001. Before it was a community theater festival, and then it became a community arts festival. And so now it's the 6th time. And so I'm in charge of the content, you could say, of the artistic aspects, everything to do with the theme, the programs. That's my responsibility. And then Ana Maria Cruz, my colleague, is in charge of all the production-related things. And so together we're the team, really.
I'm the productional manager, and that's I have to do almost everything. From booking the flights, to arranging the hotels, to arranging the locations, to communication, to almost everything.
I think the last time in 2011 we realized, wow, there is really a need for all of these colleagues from all over the world once every so often to come together to basically really seriously and critically reflect on what we do and why we do it, to let ourselves be inspired by our colleagues, by solutions they have found, by other art forms, and then go back to our places wherever we do our work, inspired, re-energized. All of these groups are community arts organizations, or at least create art together with people who are not considered artists and who are very seldom, if ever, have had direct contact with the arts.
We recognize the method of work, going into a neighborhood, talking to people and convincing people to work with you and teaching them things and teaching your method. And I think in every kind of art, that's the same. So I think that's what makes a bond.
All the groups believe in creating art on the basis of reciprocal relationships with non-artists. Yeah, so that connects them all, whether they come from Cambodia, the Philippines, Canada, Australia, South Africa, various parts of Europe, Latin America. they believe, all of them believe this. But the way they have organized themselves, or the way they actually work on the floor, all of that obviously varies. So it's a huge spectrum of practices, but they're all connected by that belief that the arts are essential to human life. And that everybody should also have the right to create. And not only, let's say, have a very small sort of specialized group of people we call artists create art and have that art then gain some kind of economic value. No, everybody should be involved in that because they believe, and we believe, that that is very, very important for who we are as human beings. This year, in 2014, the theme is space. And space in many senses of the term. One of the perceived effects of actively being involved in community arts has to do with expanding mental space. So it affects people's way of actually imagining what the world can be like. So they can also imagine through involvement in the arts that a different reality is possible, and that they can actually also have an influence on that different reality.
I realized at the moment that I'm following them without asking. So I thought, okay, I'm just a passive observer and I should react.
But also creating space, more space for community arts in the larger arts world. So we would like to expand that space. Things like that. In terms like that, we think of space.
Ya llegaron los tambores, la alegría del corazón.
Hola, yo me llamo Catalina García, vengo de Medellín, Colombia, de Barrio Comparsa. Fui invitada por el festival para compartir un poco de nuestra experiencia. Y en especial un poco de cómo funciona la metodología lúdica, acción, participación, transformación. La comparsa generalmente está compuesta por módulos y en este tiempo tuvimos 5 módulos. Hubo el módulo de circo, de juego, el módulo de danza, el módulo de la luna, el módulo del sol, el del pájaro candela y los músicos. Y cada uno, digamos, se integró por los diferentes participantes porque, digamos, en el proceso no se separaron por grupos, por las organizaciones en que venían, sino que más bien integramos a toda la gente y se hizo una unificación, ¿verdad? Eso fue muy especial. Para integrar, eso solamente tuvimos 2 días para trabajar. Fue increíble, pero digamos la metodología permite el reconocimiento y el encuentro y pues a través del juego se genera la confianza. Logramos generar un grupo compacto en 8 horas y fue pues maravilloso.
Circus Mix is a social circus for children in Rotterdam Zuid. It's one of the only circuses in Holland with mixed cultures. We're not interested in making nice shows, but in how can we work with circus as a part of their lives and in their development to teenage or what's beyond. It's a safe place. They know us, we know them, and they trust us. And I think that's the bottom line. If they don't trust you, parents, same as children, then you can't reach any goal you want.
Lo hace con los pies.
It was a dream chemistry to make things, and I think for our children, they've done things they would have never done in their lives. Touching, no way. Hugging, ooh.
Ahora voy a caminar.
Nu gaan we lopen.
Voy a poner una mano.
Ik doe mijn hand.
La mano.
Jouw hand.
Respiro.
Ik adem in.
Y cuando suelto, me dejo ir.
En wanneer ik het loslaat, knuffel ik.
¿Sí? Caminando.
We gaan
La alegría del corazón.
Levanta el espíritu.
Catalina teaches me a lot of how you make a comparsa. They're also using things that we normally use in our lessons. And finally, children see that other people use them also. And I think that's very important because everything they learn now is in compartments. That. No, it's one big word.
Poesía, ¿sí? Y es un elemento para interactuar.
When they're doing some technical stuff, some circus stuff, they're perfect. But as soon as they are going in front and need to get applause, you see them.
Estiramos la columna vertebral.
We gaan rechtop staan.
Para que se despierten todos los sentidos.
So that's the next step. It's not working on technique, it's working on social things to make them stronger.
Yo creo que una de las características particulares de Barrio Comparsa ha sido la toma del espacio público para reivindicar, digamos, la vida misma y la posibilidad del encuentro y la convivencia.
Mi ciudad de colores.
A través del juego, a través de la comparsa, a través del arte, a través de la música, de los zancos, de la poesía misma, hemos tenido la posibilidad de tomarnos el espacio público como un derecho fundamental para manifestar, para crear, para hacer, para pertenecer. Cuando pensamos en el espacio, ¿qué es el espacio? El espacio interno, el espacio externo, el espacio del contacto, el espacio de la mirada, el espacio de posicionarse, de también potenciar tu capacidad. Entonces era muy amplio. Fue muy lindo que la comparsa terminó haciendo un círculo de cierre y que si bien es difícil que nos den el espacio para poder estar en la calle como tal, logramos estar allí, bailar y estar como juntos, tomados de la mano. Fue muy lindo porque también fue la apertura del festival y porque intercambiamos allí con la gente de Estados Unidos, Bread and Peppers.
I'm a bread baker. You force feed people, they see a show, they like it or don't like it, But you feed them a piece of bread afterwards to soothe them, you know. Then they go home, bread in their belly, makes them happy.
Floor is really open because Maria is here also, and I think Maria's connection to the Bread and Puppet Theater is very interesting because she met the Bread and Puppet Theater at a time when Poland was still under a communist regime in a different historical period almost.
Our professor told us you have to go to Groteska Puppet Theater in Krakow because the great artists coming. So they were dancing on stilts and live music. So I got crazy, started to dance and was so absolutely happy. And that was this one very special moment. I saw they were going to the bus, so they were going to the airport, going back to the States, and I felt so absolutely unhappy that I will never see them again. It was in 1987, I believe, so still before the changes in our country. I went back home to my poor parents, both doctors, said, I'm going to the States. I said, oh my God.
What was it you fell in love with? What can you put that into?
It's the beauty of the form, for sure, a very strong and simple message. Yeah.
Which only the Polish people got. Only in Poland.
And what did they get? It's something that you cannot put
that nobody has said. Yes, it was very clear to me why that was the case. A diagonal man is somebody who can't be upright and can't be down. So it's somebody who's in between. He's either in the process of falling or of getting up. It's an in-between man. And the Poles thought exactly that was their situation. But politics in theater is a curious thing. Last night we started the performance with an old piece from that time, from the year 64, The Dead Man Rises. That piece we started in our own loft. And then in 67, I remember, when Colombia University was occupied by students, or was it 68? They invited us to perform for them, and we decided to perform this piece because we thought, no, these kids, they don't need more political slogans. They have enough of them. That's what they need. And to us, that seemed a political play because of that. So it doesn't appear to be a political play, but a political play isn't one that picks a political theme. But it's a play that you add to a political moment.
Are you thirsty? Yes.
Yesterday was very much about, it was a bit of...
You have to guess the
politics. Religious iconography and the tension between culture and nature and how it all fits in our context today. So that was quite interesting. Yeah.
Because you mentioned there's like a theme out there somewhere that somehow engages you. How does that creative process go?
The puppets actually get always built for their own reasons, not in order to illustrate an issue. I rather go the other way and have a sculptural idea. As a sculptor, you also have ideas, They're different from story ideas.
Yeah. And how about, let's say, the performance we saw last night? Those puppets had a life already before.
Well, the legend of the true cause was invented for what we call the geezers, the oldsters in the company. It was created as a piece for old performers where 5 people could pretend to be 25 people without engaging anybody else, could do so many things. musically. I mean, when you consider what these guys are doing between singing, instruments, movement, and other deliveries, it's pretty amazing. So this whole thing is done by 5 people.
At some point you talked about the power of an image as opposed to the power of the word. Do you still believe that?
Yeah, sure.
That an image has a different kind of impact?
Yeah. Last night when you guys got up there from the chairs and they did this and that didn't need any words. It's clear enough, you know. You were imprisoning the audience. Sculpture and painting, as you would say of music, something in their own right, and don't require either afterward interpretation or prior concept verbalizations. No way.
The other aspect of this year's festival that we wanted to emphasize and pay attention to is the aspect of transferable methodologies. So, for instance, we have brought a group from England called Inside Share, which is a participatory video company.
We use video directly as a tool for bringing about positive social change. We're not training filmmakers. They don't become a video production unit with a specialized director, a specialized camera operator, someone who's never held a video camera, never even seen a video before, who has no literacy skills, is still able to participate equally as somebody who's a professional filmmaker. There's no relationship of teacher-student. It's facilitator and participant, and the participants learn, gather the skills that they need to be able to use video for communication through games and exercises. So we say that it's not a video camera, but we would say that it's a magnet, and it draws people, incredibly draws people in. There's a fascination and excitement about it. It's often something new. It's most certainly a loudhailer. We often say that the participatory video is used to amplify voices. It's a mirror. One of the unique advantages of video as a participatory tool is that it enables you to watch it back. And it's a torch. It shines light on people and on issues. It helps those who are often marginalized or unheard to be seen.
They have developed a very interesting methodology by which they literally transfer methodology but also technology. So, they would even give a camera to a group, train them. The camera stays with the group so they can continue. They have the technology, they have the resources and the knowledge to continue to work without the presence of a profession.
In a real life situation, how would I do it? It would be his role now to teach. So he's been the student, now he's the teacher straight away, and it moves around like that.
Also in theater there are methods like that. We're bringing a very well-known group from the Philippines that has also developed a methodology that can easily, they call it creative pedagogy, which can also easily be transferred to a group, so the group can continue.
Let us move, let us move, let us move. Follow me, follow me, follow me. Let us move, let us move, let us move. Follow me, follow me.
And while we're presenting to you how we look at it naman from the Beta's point of view and from the perspective of our processes that we're using in the company. The senior members of the company in 1967, 68, 69 developed the Bitao. It's still getting from different teachers, different theater principles, but it was coined in a Bitao, and Bitao is basically meaning Basic Integrated Theater Arts Workshopping. So it's really the incorporation of the different arts, okay? It's a systematic and cumulative weaving of together of the various different expressions. This is orientation, artistry, and organization. These three are three very important aspects of the development of the course, the development of the individual. That one, our creations are based on particular relevance to the audience, to the participant. It has to be, their creations should be of relevance to them and to their community, not just to the self. That's why we always go from individual to group, from personal space to negotiating into community space. Many children in the Philippines who are deprived, in poverty, who are in very difficult circumstances, could not do anymore. They just simply have to wake up, work, sleep. Right. Wake up, find food, sleep. There's no more time to dream. And the arts provides them that, an imagined playground.
You have to use both, and then we'll see what you will create. And what could she be?
Canoeing?
Alright.
What? They did something to the space. Space that you love. At the count of 3, you move forward and you talk to them. And anytime, but the only limit is if you want to punch each other. 1, 2, 3, go!
I must have my personal space.
No, you don't need it. Yeah, no. Why do you need some space?
This space!
This is not your space.
This is my space!
Who do you think you are? This is a common place.
Why doesn't everybody just leave?
There you go!
This space is just too small for all of you guys, and this is our space. We're just keeping it. We're
That's because just our space.
Why are you always going here?
You're not allowed here.
Yeah, oh, well, what?
You're not allowed here.
I'm asking
No,
you
no,
why
no,
you're going here. It's my place.
This is my space. This is our space. This is a controlled space. You are not allowed here. You have to leave. Please leave now.
Okay, I'm sorry.
There is a daytime program, which is basically for professionals working in the field. We have a series of seminars led by Dr. Carrie Schaefer from the University of Exeter, which is more like an academic sort of seminar in which people who want to participate under her guidance then basically explore some concepts which have to do with space.
It's a session about place, space and community arts practice. I've kind of put place in there because I think place comes before space. Today, what I'm going to try and do is just sort of introductions, because there's a lot of people and I know some people here but I don't know other people, and maybe everybody's a bit like that, you know, some people you don't know other people, so I'm going to try and get to know each other. Are you a community worker? A community worker. Do you have any dramaturgs in the room? Dramaturgs. Anybody who's a community organiser? Room, take a step forward.
In a theater, but this friend of mine is more, but I have the opportunities to come here and join in some different
Well, we still wanted to continue these academic seminars because there's obviously a place for them, but we also wanted to create other forms of conversation that would let other people join. And so I came across this round table, which is a project by a site-specific theatre company based in the north of the Netherlands. We asked Henry Alice, who is the artist, to come, and he came to Rotterdam, and we discovered this wonderful social care farm just on the outskirts of Rotterdam.
Ladies and gentlemen, some fresh milk, please. Walk forward and get your glass yourself.
And they had this wonderful sort of art object, which is a round table, 9 meters in diameter, which they place out in the open. Basically the concept is you sit in the middle of a rural environment with everything happening around you that would normally happen there. And then you sit with 49 people at this table, and there are all kinds of stories going around the table about the food you eat. You hear the stories of the food. So in the middle of an orchard outside, that's where that particular conversation will take place. So it's one of the many different kinds of conversations, space for conversations, you could say, that we this time decided to organize. And then there are workshops where you can actually learn methodologies, very practical, hands-on workshops in some cases, where you do stuff on the floor.
Are you ready? Yes. 3. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Em dic Josep Maria Aragall, vinc de Barcelona i he vingut a presentar el projecte de Basketbeat.
A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4.
És una metodologia que intenta facilitar l'accés a l'experiència artística i l'accés a la música a través de l'esport, concretament al bàsquet, i amb una mirada de transformació social, amb objectius sempre d'empoderament, de fomentar el pensament crític, etc. La idea de Basketbeat neix a Barcelona intentant promoure que joves que no tenen accés a la música participin en activitats musicals, i convertir la pilota de bàsquet en un instrument és interessant perquè és com aprendre un instrument que ja saps tocar perquè fa molt temps que botes la pilota.
Ta, 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 tum,
One more time.
2, 3, 2, 4, 2, da, 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 da.
Vam començar a Barcelona amb un grup de joves, joves que a Barcelona es diuen Meina, els diuen Meina, menors estrangers indocumentats no acompanyats, és a dir, joves que van venir sols d'Àfrica sense cap referent familiar ni sense papers. I l'experiència ha sigut brutal. Després de 3 anys, aquests joves estan sols, sense organitzacions, sense professionals, fent els seus assajos, concerts, etc. La pràctica del bàsquet té una limitació molt clara i és que amb una pilota només podem fer dos sons, un so greu i un so agut. Tum, clap. Llavors, jo sol puc fer molt poquetes coses, llavors necessito algú altre per fer una cosa més complexa i aquesta necessitat fa que la vivència a grup es visqui molt forta. Estar dins el programa de l'ICAF per mi és un honor increïble en el sentit de que hi ha un reconeixement d'una feina i una hipòtesi de que el que estic fent o el que estem fent és vàlid per compartir. Una altra cosa que ha sigut increïble és la honestitat i lo transversal que és tot, l'horitzontal. Tots estem en un paper molt similar durant aquests dies. O sigui, una activitat frenètica i tothom es mescla. Els que esteu treballant, amb els que estem presentant coses, amb els que venen participants i tots ens mesclem i fem això, és fantàstic.
Other workshops are more like, hey, this is what I do back home, let me show you what I've done, and we can talk about it, kind of workshops. But there are also all kinds of other forms of interaction, conversations about the work. So we can actually discover together what the meaning is of what we do, of this work, what makes this work so important and meaningful, and find different ways of actually reflecting about that. Could also be non-verbally.
My name is Yuti. Okay.
And I'm Anat. We're both Yuti and Anat Shamai. We come from Israel. We're community artists that do art with people all over the world. The people of Netanya came to us as community artists. They wanted us to make a piece for a festival, a biennale of mosaica. And they said, not ceramics, something else, think of something else. So we said, well, what shall we do? And then I saw all these socks I had at home, and we said, okay, socks.
The lonely ones.
The lonely socks, the only socks that come out of the wash, and who doesn't have that?
Everyone.
Everyone does. So we decided to gather them together and make them happy on a mosaic of socks. We like to give inspiration to people to do art. Then they create with us together. And this is a way of communication without words, through art. As you can see, everybody can do it. This piece is called Connections. The metaphor of the way. You don't know, you start some way and you get some other way, and it's like a long and winding road, you know? And in a dialogue, you have many problems, but you have to solve the problems and continue. So I really don't know what will be the outcome, the end piece. And in these 4 hours, we will see what comes up. But this is what we're doing.
And it's a way of bringing smile to people.
Yeah, we like to see people connect and be harmonious, you know, and be happy. Sent a letter to Eugene about what we do. And then he sent me back, and then I started looking at what all the ICAF festivals that were already the past ones. And I said, Judy, this is perfect. I didn't know that something like this existed.
They have been working in another neighborhood, and they created a mosaic.
This is for you as a present.
Oh. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Was it too young?
We went to Dublin and we saw their performance, which is The Far Side. We were astonished. We said to Eugene and Anna Maria, you have to program this.
I will sleep the night on my own. What good is sleep when there's always the waking? To your pillow fall calls through the night.
The Far Side is actually about a small town in I guess Rotterdam, a small town in Ireland, and it's about people who live in the same area but talk about the other side.
I was born on the side that wasn't the far side. It also wasn't the near side or the other side.
Two groups of citizens are divided with the river, and the one talks about the far side, and that is the other side. So the far side is actually always the side that you are not on. And we get an introduction of who these people are and get to know them a little bit. And the director is actually sitting himself there in front of the screen, so he's physically there, and asking the participants questions on film.
Jerry, can you tell me what else a shoebox is used for?
They have worked with people who did not want to be in a play. They didn't want to be in a stage. And they had a very good solution for that. They filmed these people, and the way it is filmed, you really have the feeling that they are there. So the gap between the viewer and the participant, which is normally quite big because it's a film, now it's very low because you have the feeling that they are there. Right now we are in an empty shop at the Dordtselaan. And the Dordtselaan is a street, a very long street of 850 meters. In the south of Rotterdam.
We kregen deze ruimte tot onze beschikking en omdat het festival als thema ruimte heeft, zijn we met deze ruimte aan de slag gegaan. Degene van wie de ruimte is, was Erik Dullaert. En Erik Dullaert was bezig met het opzetten van een project wat heette View the Room.
We came here and we sat down and we were astonished by this big window. When you sit and you just see people walking by, you know them for 3 seconds because it's kind of, I think, 4 meters long. We wanted to know who lives here, why do they live here, did they choose to come here or don't they have any other place to go. We wanted to interview some of those people and get to know them a little bit more than those 3 seconds that they pass by. We have one man who lives here 61 years, but also 2 Polish guys who live here only for 3 weeks. We took them upstairs to the highest level of this building, to the top.
Het feit is dat je natuurlijk als maker altijd zoekt naar verschillende lagen in je voorstelling. Je wil op verschillende lagen met mensen in contact gaan. En het contact wat je hier maakt met mensen op de straat is toch anders dan het contact wat je met diegene hebt bovenop. Het eerste wat mensen hier zullen zeggen op dit niveau is van het is niet vies en het stinkt. Maar dat klopt. Je kunt hier ook echt de straat ruiken als het ware. Ga je naar boven, dan kom je even los van wat je ruikt. En kun je meer in je hoofd en eigenlijk veel breder kijken. En dat is het mooie van het project. Wat het voor mij heel erg oplevert is dat je als maker ook toch weer geconfronteerd wordt met de snelle blik die je vaak hebt en denkt te weten hoe het zit. En altijd komt er dan toch weer een hele erge verrassing naar boven, omdat het toch altijd net weer anders is dan dat je denkt.
My name is Hector Aristizabal and I'm originally from Colombia, but I exiled in the United States and now I work all over the world using theater to work with communities and using mostly theater of the oppressed, but in general using beauty to create spaces for imagination.
1, 2, 3.
At ICAF, I had the chance to present a workshop with my friend Luc Op de Beek from Format. We introduced what is called in Theater of the Oppressed legislative theater.
The legislative theater is a form of theater where groups of people are invited to propose and to work on new legislation.
Yeah. So we go to a community and we do games, then we create images, then we create short scenes from problems that the community is interested in. Ask people, what did they see? So what did you see? What happened here?
Bullying, oppression.
Bullying, oppression. Represión. So, yes, and what else? What else? It's open the imagination. In Theater of the Press, we invite people to show us and to talk about it. And everybody gets very excited. So the person feels very invited to the stage. All right, and then, my dear, you go. So now she's going to replace this character. Ready? No. Keep going. What did you see?
Someone was trying to get away.
She was trying to get away. However, so it's not that it was a wrong intervention, because this can become a seed for someone else's idea. So it's very important how we process the intervention. For me, any intervention is valid. Any. And this is when the Joker goes home. All right. So, but she tries something. So an oppressed is not a victim. The victim just accepts. An oppressed is someone trying to change. We see them trying, and then we get ideas, what else could they do? And that's the form play. Now, in legislative, we ask what kind of laws should be created to help the witness protection.
Witness protection is the 13th law Boal came up with in Rio de Janeiro.
So that aggravates the crime. It's not just that someone got beaten, it's that someone, if you demonstrate that they were beaten because they were gay, or they were black, or they were Latino, then the crime is bigger.
Four hand claps over 3 beats.
something lyrical and slow here.
I'm Neil Bedder, I'm the Artistic Director of Actor Community Theatre. I'm here with 20 of our participants and staff, including 9 members of the Malcolm X Theatre Company, which is one of our satellite organisations.
Rock them 3 by 3, finger mash no cry, remember play we are play, Emmanuel Road, finger rock stone,
Performance is called Tiki Piki Boom Boom, and it was a play for children that the elders devised last year. We had funding from the Arts Council of England to create the play and then to tour it to primary schools in disadvantaged areas of Bristol, so that children would have the opportunity to see theatre that they don't normally get the opportunity to see theatre at all. In England, it's a real tradition at Christmas time for children to see plays, which are usually based on Western folk traditions like Sleeping Beauty or Cinderella. So we wanted to do something a little bit different to that. We started off with the elders, asking them about the stories that they remembered from their childhood. The ones that the elders came up with that they remembered were ones which haven't been put in any books.
She jump up and start dancing all over again.
Paul gone the bush, cockroach tell him say him sick. Cockroach tell him say him sick.
We didn't create a script for the play, there is no script. I think there's 2 pages where there's actual lines that people say. The rest of it is completely improvised. On the show that we did here, I was watching it thinking, I was laughing because there were bits in it which we hadn't done before. Because the form was so loose and elastic, it allowed them to do that. And the third thing we wanted to do was to challenge the children's perception that older people get old and then can do nothing. And the elders are very keen on the idea that just because you get old doesn't mean you stop being useful. And, we believe at ACTA that community theatre should not only tell people stories, but it should also be useful. It should fulfill a purpose within the wider community.
That's the end of our story.
We also have a vision, what will be suitable to the festival. So we just talk a lot, and we research a lot, and we see movies, and we try to visit some groups to see them perform in their own country or seeing the projects in their own country.
Basemazweni umama beno baba bayohlala bekhala izinyembezi umama beno baba bayohlala bekhala izinyembezi umama beno baba bayohlala bekhala izinyembezi basemazweni umama beno baba bayohlala bekhala izinyembezi umama beno baba bayohlala bekhala izinyembezi.
Beautiful.
You were never my brother.
My name is Siso Shabalala.
Shamalala.
Yes.
And yours?
My name is Musa Wekosi Shabalala.
Aha. And you're twins?
Yeah, we're twins.
This is your space?
Yes, it's us.
And you teach kids
yes.
all day long?
Every day.
Why do you do that?
We just want to keep these kids out of the streets. That's the first and important one, because in these days there's too much crime, there's too much rape, there's too much drugs.
Mm-hmm.
So secondly, we want these kids to have a job. Mm-hmm. We want to create job opportunities for them, because not all of us are going to be accountants, are going to be doctors, but we want them to realize that the talent is in their hands.
Last October, we went to South Africa, to Durban, and we met Siso and Gosso from Umsindo. They live in Durban in the township of Umlazi, and there was a connection between the four of them, or the five of us, and we decided to get some money and invite them over here. So they arrived last Wednesday and we worked for 5 days. And now we are going to show you Go Hasidu, the show we made last week.
Oh yeah. Hey, let me tell you the difference between those two.
It's about the brothers in the community. It's about the brothers in South Africa. It's about the whole universe. It's a universal story. It happens, bro, everywhere.
Hey! Oh, hey! Look over here. There's no gray hair. Take out the weave. Shabalala. Shabalala. So, this is our song. Our song for our loved ones. A song for you, baby. A song you will never forget how much I love you. A song so you never forget how much we love you. We do love you.
that makes dance in community, with the community and for the community. We get the opportunity to do the residency of ICAF, and they said, well, it's important that you find somebody, an international choreographer, to work with you. I thought that was a very difficult question because we don't know so much choreographers who work in the community.
Last summer I got an email from Nana from Dance Nest to ask me if I wanted to come over for a meeting with her and ICAF to talk about a potential collaboration. So I said yes, that would be great.
Philippe came to Holland together with Steven, one of the dancers he works with a lot, and we had a work weekend, really just to have 3 days full on dancing and just going and to really get to know, for us, get to know how Philippe moves and how he likes to choreograph, and for him to know how we do that.
We were thinking about a way of working, we were thinking about a way of dancing, and we had this really beautiful dance phrases.
And then afterwards we started doing workshops here in the neighborhood, at schools, but also at an elderly home. And we really reached a lot of people. And then on the 1st of February, we had, well, it wasn't really an audition, it was more of a tasting day.
We call it proefdag. Like you can taste how we're going to work and try to see who's also enjoying dancing.
To be in the community, because it's a collaboration between the dance nest and the community, and we wanted to kind of have this interaction between them.
Normally Dance Nest makes those performances outside, but it's March and it's still cold outside, so that's why they choose to do it in this shopping mall.
We started from that concept and that idea and walking around, okay, what happens in a mall? How do people act over there? And that was the starting point to start choreographing.
Doing it here is like literally going back to basics. Normally if you're in a theatre, everybody kind of dresses up nice and we have like a stage and the lighting and everything's nice. But here it's very bare and very real.
This is a very busy mall. A lot of people from the neighborhoods come here to buy and shop. So not only the audience who is invited can join, but also someone who just walks by and thinks, oh, what's happening over there?
Some areas like the Hoge Vught where we are now, maybe they have less opportunities and maybe there's a big barrier between them and the arts. And it's how do you challenge that and how do you improve that vision or viewpoint. My statement is that I work with everybody. Literally anyone can dance. So I'd like people to be very positive and give them like an opportunity to be free in their heads and in their bodies. So kind of make them relax so that they are happy to express themselves.
Non-professional dancers do have their own skills and a totally different view of movement and dance. And we take stuff they bring in with us and to break it open and make it fresh also for ourselves. As a dancer, you sometimes get stuck in your dance technique or in things like, oh, it has to be always very well and it has to be technically correct. But then you see those people, they come in and they just do it. They don't think, but they just do it. And also the combination, the children with the adults, it's really nice because if you have to make a duet with a child, it's gonna be completely something different than when you do it with adults. It's automatically gonna be a little more playful because children are just who they are. People were just asking, how do you do it with the children? They are serious and concentrated. Well, we just treat them like the other dancers and we have a serious rehearsal and we also take them serious.
After 8 rehearsals, they really, every kid and every person really did something they would not ever have done before this whole project, and that is really a good thing to see, yeah, and good to be part of that experience.
Soy Eva García y soy la fundadora y la directora de una entidad cultural en Cataluña, en España, que se llama Transformas. Hemos venido a presentar una película que hicimos el año pasado en la cárcel en la que nosotros trabajamos habitualmente y donde tenemos una compañía de teatro.
¿Te da, tío?
Pues me da lo que me da, o es que tampoco vamos a poder pedir explicaciones.
Cállate, nena, anda un rato.
A mí no me mandas callar, gilipollas.
Nosotros abrimos la cárcel para que la gente venga a ver el teatro, ¿no? Y cada día vienen 150 personas, pero lo podemos hacer en un tiempo muy limitado, durante una semana o 10 días. Entonces nuestra capacidad para sacar fuera lo que ocurre dentro y por lo tanto generar una reflexión sobre qué es lo que pasa con las cárceles, con la culpa, con la persona que es diferente y tal, es muy pequeño. Y el cine nos permitía salir fuera y además ser muy accesible.
Parece que aquí se ha producido un brote epidémico. Todavía desconocen el origen y por eso han decidido aislar a los diferentes módulos para evitar un posible contagio.
O sea, el equipo de cine era un equipo de cine normal, nunca habían hecho un proyecto comunitario, social, pero intentamos que el modelo de trabajo fuera el que la entidad tiene. Entonces estuvimos 9 meses trabajando en la escritura del guión y en la composición del grupo, a debatir cómo iba a ser el rodaje, ¿no? Intentar que los presos también entendieran que aquello iba a cambiar mucho durante un mes. Hacíamos un rodaje diario de 9 horas y ellos tuvieron unos horarios absolutamente diferentes a lo de la cárcel, pero normales en términos de una película, ¿no? Yo creo que les han impactado 2 cosas. A los que han podido salir fuera y ver qué pasaba con la peli en la calle, porque claro, los que se han quedado dentro, eso, por más que lo cuentes, no lo alcanzan a ver, les ha sorprendido mucho que la gente normal y que normalmente los mira con mala cara y los enjuicia, aplaudan su película, se acerquen a ellos, les feliciten, les digan, pero si no pareces preso, pero no, se queden como muy impactados. Y la otra parte es que durante el rodaje, de hecho después del rodaje hubo que pasar un momento de duelo muy fuerte, porque ellos tenían la impresión de que habían estado en el exterior, porque estaban con gente de la calle, tenían horarios diferentes, comían a horas diferentes, estaban todo el día currando. Pues su dinámica diaria cambió tanto que durante un mes tuvieron la impresión de haber salido a la calle. Y eso fue muy duro también, después de acompañar, ¿no?
Buenas tardes. Ante todo, un gran abrazo muy fuerte de nuestra parte. Y seguro que nos vais a echar de menos. Nosotros a vosotros y vosotros a nosotros. Ahora mismo
hemos construido la frontera.
Que no tengo dinero, ¿dónde está Pepe Romano? ¡Pepe Romano!
Hola, soy Pepa Gamboa. Ricardo Iniesta, director de TNT, que tiene el centro, está muy próximo al asentamiento chabolista del Vacío, ¿no? Y me propuso que hiciera un taller con las mujeres. Yo digo, bueno, un taller no tiene ningún sentido. O conseguimos que se haga una obra de teatro y que se incorporen al mundo laboral de alguna manera.
Me llamo Rocío, vengo con un grupo de gitanas, venimos de Sevilla y venimos a otro país que no lo conocemos, venimos a la casa de la Bernardalba.
De la casa de Bernardalba, mujeres encerradas por el luto. O sea que para mí es que representaba lo mismo, ¿sabes? Representaba lo mismo, un drama de las mujeres por el pueblo de España. Y estas están en las chabolas, que no pueden salir de las chabolas, y las otras no podían salir de su encierro.
Un vecino saber si nadar y allí a buscar tío. Dámelo todo, que eres muy ladrona, me la has robado todo. Mis pendientes, mis pulseras, mi alhaja. Todo, que eres muy mala. Eres muy mala.
¿Y usted a quién representa en la obra de teatro?
Yo, Bernardo.
¿Y cómo es su personaje?
Mala.
¿Dura?
Mala. Mala, esa mujer tiene que ser muy mala.
¿Y cómo es para usted estar en ese personaje?
Bueno, me tengo que hacer la mala. Me lo tengo que hacer y que no soy mala.
Los inicios fueron muy sencillos. Yo la cité en el teatro donde íbamos a trabajar.
Al principio fui un poquito, como somos gitanos y los gitanos nunca hacemos una cosa de esa. Lo nuestro es otras cosas, otras costumbres. Los gitanos nunca hacen una obra de teatro.
No saben leer, escribir, no saben incluso hablar castellano porque son de ascendencia portuguesa.
Me presentó a hacer una obra de teatro y yo le dije, nosotros no vamos a hacer una obra de teatro porque nosotros no sabemos. Y se pone, bueno, vamos a ver qué va a salir. Bueno, jugando y divirtiéndonos, comiendo y con ese todo, pues ella fue una grande mujer que mordió 8 papeles, uno a cada una de nosotros, sin saber leer y escribir, pero con la inteligencia y la cosa nuestra, salimos adelante.
La síntesis que te puedo decir, que ellas han ganado dinero han entrado por primera vez en el mundo laboral, se sienten orgullosas de ellas mismas porque la gente las aplaude, no las escupe ni las echa de los sitios. Los maridos, una revolución, los maridos, ellas de gira, los maridos cuidando a los niños, ¿sabes? Ellas los ensayos y los maridos con los niños. Una especie de revolución absoluta, absoluta, no te lo puedes imaginar.
Para mí me hace sentir mujer, me hace sentir otra persona, me hace cambiar, me hace mucho porque nosotros la vida que llevamos antes nunca hemos ido a un festival, jamás en la vida hemos estado en un teatro, jamás en la vida hemos estado que nosotros, para nosotros esto es una cosa muy grande. Bueno, una cosa que ha pasado por encima del base de las mujeres gitanas, pero eso se lo tenemos que agradecer a ella y al TNT y a todos los directores y a Pepa Polante.
My name is Joe Zaibane. I'm the artistic director of the Bajamajig Storytellers. The Bajamajig means storytellers, or the keepers of the stories in our language. The responsibility to these stories so that my great-great-great-great-grandchildren can have access to them in the same way that was preserved for me by my great-great-great-great-grandfather and grandparents. So, yeah, I think the stories we're going to be sharing are passed on from an oral tradition, and some of the stories go back 50,000 years to the beginning of time, their creation legends. So you have a whole generation of people now who don't speak their traditional language, and you have some elders who only speak in their traditional language. So there's a gap between the grandchildren and the grandparents because they can't communicate directly to each other. So I think one of the important things that we're doing also as a company is bridging that gap from the older generation to the younger generation so that they can communicate again and they can pass on those stories, because as the elders pass on, the stories and things pass on with them because they were never written down anywhere, they were never put in a book. So
don't worry, we're not gonna say it like that every time. We'll just say Kahila, but in your head you'll be thinking Kahila.
All these stories, they have a meaning to it, you know. Maybe it's teaching you humility. Maybe it's teaching you truthfulness, honesty. And these are so crucial. These are values. These are principles. So if we can do that through our storytelling and bring it over here to all the other people from around the world, that makes the whole world a better place. And that's what we're supposed to do.
We're actually going into communities and getting to engage with communities. So it's not just about us telling a story and learning about the history of the people and the places that we're at.
Before we share our story, we want to know the story of the place we're going to be in, because it changes how we think about our story. We're a relationship-based company. We're a relationship relationship-based people. So building the relationship is always the foundation for everything before we even decide if we want to engage in a project together. You have to have those strong ties, and I think that's what a lot of the other companies are here about building community. I think we have a saying in our creation process, the 4 directions creation process, that the artist is the creation and the performance is the celebration. So the artists themselves they are creation, and whatever they come is, and the performance becomes the celebration of life, the celebration of creation.
We're all artists, we're all human people, so I think like the sharing of ideas and not enforcing your beliefs and saying, well, our way of doing it is right and your way is not so right. It's like, no, we're all right because we're all artists, right? We're all here to create.
We went on the sunrise walk in the morning, and that's important for us to acknowledge the new territory that we're on. We're in a new place. We're not at home in our territory. We're in somebody else's territory. So the sunrise walk is a way for us to physically acknowledge that, okay, we're in this new place. So we come, we offer berries to the water, and we sing for the water, and it's a way to, just for us to acknowledge that and to figure out where we are in the world and decide what stories we want to share while we're here.
It's like the Belmer Park Theater. So I'm not from Untold, but
we work together.
But we work together as a partner, an important partner. By putting Untold in the center, we want to let you understand in which way we are working with the community and what we do think about community art. Amsterdam has different districts, and they all have their own character. The southeast, 80,000 people live in the southeast, but 70% of them have their roots from somewhere else. And the biggest group are the Surinamese. And then what we noticed is that Untold and many others in the southeast, identity is a very important thing, a very important something that moves them. So when we're talking about empowerment, it's also about making sure that people know who I am, that they listen to who I am, that they value my culture, and I will show them the language and the songs and the music of my culture. What is Windi?
Windi is a religion what is based on things from nature, wind, water, fire, and earth, and the spirit himself is the fifth one. In the play Obja, we have different kind of spirits that we are presenting, and the dancers are showing the movements that are connected with the spirit.
So every spirit has its own songs and has its own movements.
Yes, and rhythms
also. Did you create these songs and rhythms, or are they existing from?
Some of them are already existing, and some of them I've made it myself.
It was prohibited for hundreds and hundreds of years in Suriname. So it was something which happens in secretive. You could be punished for it. I mean, and it's only lately, a few years ago, that you can do it.
In the 70s, no?
In the 70s. It's recently.
But what impressed me is that in Suriname or in the country or in your society, it was something maybe wrong expression, like black magic.
To enslave everybody, you need something to enslave people if you are with less people. So what they do, everything what was African, they have to mention as negative. If we're gonna use and know where we come from, we're gonna use Winti to free ourselves, that would be very bad for them, because we were a lot of African people in Suriname, in Curaçao, in Jamaica, but less slave masters, less white people who enslaved our ancestors. And that was the biggest reason that we cannot have drums, because where you're going to play the drums, we play the drums in the rainforest in Suriname, or in the rainforest in Jamaica, or in Curaçao, we play it in the caves, so that people cannot hear us. That was the main reason. Everything what was African was forbidden.
Going to perform on the stage, the Surinamese theater. When you go back to home, you're going to think about it the whole day.
I am vibrating with what just happened in this theater to see what I saw as an initiation of a young person who is lost in this modern world, and because he's lost, he opens his heart, so the ancestors come to him through dance, music, and song. And I think that this is a metaphor of what we're doing here. Community-based theater and arts in general is the place where the culture is cultivated in the young people. And to see that in such a beautiful way in this last performance of the festival was magical for me.
It has been a performance that started at 8 o'clock on Wednesday morning with the oven until now, until just a few minutes ago when we finished with that lovely show from the Surinamese and Caribbean and African youngsters from the Bijlmer in Amsterdam. That sort of like, it made it like full circle. Yeah, I know the festival was very full. You know, we were crazy to have these 9 routes or 10 routes sometimes. But I wanted that. I wanted to show the enormous diversity of what we call community art. It's not only one thing, no, it's so many different things. And not only that, it's also happening all over the world. And I wanted people to walk away with that impression that, hey, this is not just some small marginal thing. No, it's a worldwide movement. And there's actually also not only that, it's not only worldwide and very diverse, it's also been around for a while. Because we also have now, we're into the 3rd generation after that. So it was so beautiful to have Peter and Elka here. You know, just wandering all these days, staying with us, becoming part of the community that we had.
Normally when we go to a festival, it's on a tour, and we just do our gig, we do our puppet show, you know, we do a workshop where we put local people into the show. Next day after we perform, next town.
To have them here like two generations ago, they're still going strong, and that's an inspiration for me to keep going, and I think for the young people that were there.
It's very seldom you come to a festival that's really a festival, where the people the participants of the festival talk to each other and see each other, meet each other, and you see the other things. It's rare. So congratulations to this festival.
And I also think we achieved going out into public space. I'm really happy about that. because in previous festivals we stayed indoors quite a bit, and this we set ourselves the challenge to look for possibilities of actually also doing community art in public space. So I think, yeah, that was a lovely new dimension also.
I was thinking, I mean, the amount of money that the world is spending right now in weapons of mass destruction, any of those weapons will finance several festivals like this anywhere in the world. And people will come together and see each other again, listen to each other's stories, engage in beauty, which is the only outcome of conflict that satisfies the soul.
I can see some results. I can see what it does to people. I can see how people get inspired by just seeing other colleagues. That's the beauty of it. Just people seeing beautiful things and getting inspired and making their work better. And I think that's my motivation.
Yeah, I feel that I bring lots of connections, that this is a place where we all become spiders and we keep weaving this web of invisible threads that connects us to each other.
ICAF is important because of the people that it brings together from around the world. It makes the world a little bit of a smaller, more cohesive place when everybody is kind of thinking along the same lines, community-minded, and if a few of us can do that, then we become stronger and stronger as a global community.
And can you imagine, we could reproduce this in many other places. So I'm very thankful that it exists here in the Netherlands, to Eugene and all the people that work with him to make this possible.
It's always a learning, learning and sharing, and I think maybe that's what ICAF does, being creative about it too.
So we have generations, we have different cultural, artistic practices, geographical spread, and spatial spread. So, yeah, I think we have reason to be very satisfied.